Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Backpacktrader Training Room for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and information purposes only, not to be considered individual financial advice. Trading of this type carries substantial risk and should only be attempted with funds you can afford to do without. All right, that is all that we have there. The market is open. Short trade on the YM definitely triggers in. Target 1 on the YM, also on the, let's see, Russell was too early. YM going all the way to target 4, it looks like. Trailer is at 046. I'm sorry, crude is in its third trade of the morning and hit target 1, so that's going to get it positive today. Soybeans picking up a long trade that goes too far too fast. That was too fast to trade. Soybeans on counterpunch, starting at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, and the YM stopping out at 041. That's going to be a one and done session. Crude trailing at 78.12, looking for target 2. And the pound Aussie stopping and reversing from a short. Actually may not stop and reverse yet. Entry at 978, so that's going to go to 81. Stop and reversal level adjustment plus key level adjustment. So we are still in the short for the moment anyway. And soybeans with a new long trade. Now taking some heat. Unleaded, one and done from this 850 trade, but we got a chance to get back in it on the, or to get in it on a get in sync. That gets target 1 and target 2. No, actually it does. It gets target 1 only and a small trailer. So target 2 traders take this subsequent short trade, the blue short trade. Target 1 traders are power of quitting. So you're done. Target 2 traders pick up target 2 and trail all the way down to 451 from the entry at 544. So 87 ticks on the trailer to go along with 37 on target. 2 and done and a nice win. So crude and unleaded both. Micro Russell target 3 and target 4 on the early trade. So our first trade of the morning is long. It's a full stop out. And then price is going on in the way of our long. So that's unfortunate. And crude stopping out at 78.14 on that second position. That completes the third trade, so also makes us positive. 3 trades and positive for a POQ on crude. All right, YM got us a partial, didn't get to target 1. Let's see, where were we? That was early. What, this one? Okay, yeah, that was our first trade. Yeah, that should be in that one, and that got you positive and out. So 1 and done on the YM, 3 and done on crude, 2 and done on unleaded. 1 loss, and we did stop and reverse on the pound Aussie. Good morning, Avi. Trade your own charts. Looks like I'm even this morning. All right, new short trade, probably avoidable so far on the Micro Russell. Came to the entry. So let's get the micro NQ out here. There it is. 4 minutes after our start time. The short trade is our first trade of the morning. Entry at 207 and a quarter, and we got to 207.50, so still not in that trade yet. And avoided long short trade on the micro Russell into a long trade. And soybeans getting target 1 on its long trade. That's our first trade of the day, so this will be a power quitting trade. 10 ticks to target 1. Our next objective is target 2. And that will bring our stop to 48 and a half. And if this, okay, this is just a second, would just be the second loss. We avoided the loss on the short. So far, micro Russell is still long and stopping out. Looks like we did come down and trigger into the micro NQ. Yes. So we are short on the micro NQ now. Long on soybeans, flat on the micro Russell, and short on the micro NQ. Right, so stopping out on the micro, or on the soybeans chart, one and done session, target 1 for 10 ticks, additional 3 ticks for the one tick trailer on each of 3 positions remaining. Pound Aussie in the long trade, loss of 5 positions times 972 to 981, 9 times 5, 45 pips. So that's easily recoverable. Crude POQ on 3 trades. Unleaded POQ on 2 for target 2. So we will come to the 10 a.m. crude session in about 15 minutes. But for now, we have Another long. Ooh, I wasn't watching that. That's another long trade. Yeah. No, that's our second loss on the long. That's just still in that same bar. Stopped us out. And now the micro NQ making heat, looking like that may have just been a pullback. And then, yep, stopping out for loss on trade number one on the micro NQ. All right, and a new short trade on micro Russell. Triggering in. Micro Russell in trade number three. Micro NQ in another short now. Micro Russell is short. Micro NQ is short. Micro Russell, money management. So our stop comes to 76.2. Reaching target 2, looking for target 3. There is our objective right there. Okay, did we get target 1 is 87 3/4. Got as low as 88 flat. So one tick away from money management. I think I would go ahead and move my stop, and that would have just hit the break-even stop out. So that would be a break-even trade. I could be wrong, but another pullback. Let's see where that goes. Micro Russell stopping out with a break-even as well. So 2 losses and a break-even on the Micro Russell. 1 loss and a break-even on the Micro NQ, at least as of the moment. If you're leaving it, having missed that target by 1 tick, then you're still in the short. So Micro Russell is flat. If you played it 1 tick from money management, you move the stop, then you would be flat on Micro NQ. If not, you're still in the short. And the pound Aussie is in the long. YM and Micro Russell pushing upward. YM at new session highs. And the Micro Russell and Micro NQ are just off of the session highs. Long trade on Micro Russell. It's like it touched the entry and just came to the entry again. So that's definitely in that trade. Go up 1 tick above 79.6 for money management. 14 tick minimum on this trade plan. Four minutes to crude session. Or actually under 4 minutes. And we get money management and another break-even stop out. This one intra-bar on the micro Russell. Two losses, two break-evens. And if you held the full stop on micro NQ, you're still short. Where did we get to this time? And we came down to 188 flat again, one tick away. Ten a.m. and a short trade on crude. too fast to catch so far. So does it get in sync? At the moment. And a short on the micro Russell. Trade number 5. And that's the one. And the down tick from target 1, 74.4. There's money management, so we'll go ahead to target 3 with that. And we finally got through target 1 on the micro NQ. So if you held the full stop until you actually hit target 1, you are at break even, 204 flat is the break even stop. Looks like we did come up and trigger in crude trade. So crude is short the 10 a.m. mini session. And micro Russell stopping out for a third break even. One more trade for the day. It's kind of a noisy day. Up and down, not a lot of follow through. After setting a session high around 15 to 20 minutes after, 15 minutes after session open, or rather after market open. Not any news of particular interest showing up this morning. Everybody being quiet this morning. Definitely short on crude. You held the full stop on the micro NQ when we missed money management by a tick, then you are still short. We're looking for target 2 there. We are going to be definitely no worse than break even. Crude trying to get its act together for a downward push. Went up and tested the 20 SMA and then has come down and now is just hesitating. Micro Russell and YM indicating an upward move. Micro NQ still in the short. If you unless you stopped out after moving your stop when we came within a tick of the money management. Three ticks from the stop out on Micro NQ. So far it just stopped out. So it didn't matter if you moved your stop early or not. The result was a break-even trade. Either way you played it. Crude pushing down toward money management. 77.77. And then should that be, if sevens are lucky, that should be a lucky number. And final trade of the morning on the Micro Russell is a long trade. 77.2. And we did touch it. Possible stop and reverse on the micro on the pound Aussie at 962. And definitely in the long on the Micro Russell. That's only 1.3 to target one, so we need to go to 75.6 again. I'm sorry, 78.6. Rude, trying to figure out if it's going to go lower or not. Micro Russell within one tick of money management. There it is. So move your stop to break even. 77.2 or 77.3 actually. Still long in the pound Aussie, but with a potential stop and reverse. The yellow line there at 962 is our stop and reverse entry. So no worse than a fourth break even here on the Micro Russell. One loss, one break even on the Micro NQ. And the Micro Russell stop at 77.3. Potential stop and reverse on the Micro Crude. That, by key level, that actually goes to 78.1. Because the stop and reverse would be 77.98. That means money management's going to go to 11 if we hit it. Actually, kind of like that. 20 SMA is at 99. That's a big adjustment, but it's good protection, I think. And we did hit the unadjusted entry, so we will leave that in place unless we either hit the stop on that trade or a subsequent short trade. New long trade on the Micro NQ. This one's slightly larger than normal, but not significantly so. Not enough to bring the target down to target 1, the actionable target, that is. And target 3, so our first winner of the day on the Micro Russell, being your 6th trade. With 2 losses, we're going to need a solid target 4 and pretty good trailer. There's our next objective on the Micro Russell M2K. Crude still in the short. The 10 a.m. session. 10 a.m. mini session. Target 4 on the Micro Russell, stop to 77.9. Still short on crude, long on the Micro NQ, and long on the Micro Russell. Still long so far on the pound Aussie, but getting very close. We got about a pip and a half. Triggering the short, but still in the long. Micro NQ stalling on its move toward target 1. And we did trigger unadjusted on the pound Aussie. $78.4 from Micro Russell stop. All three market indices seem to be pausing. Micro NQ showing a distinct pullback now, pushing through the 50 and stopping out, and we have a long or short trade at 192 and a quarter. So that's the second loss, and with a break even. Yep, we hit the stop on the nose. So we are out of the long trade. Short trade is still valid. Still in the pound Aussie long. Still long on the micro Russell. Flat on the micro NQ. Looks like we did touch the stop, but that doesn't matter because we haven't hit the entry yet. And still short on the crude trade. Crude working down close to session lows. 77.66 for the session low. And we do trigger short rather on the micro NQ. Valid trade because we did watching it. We hit stop before target or before entry. So this is a valid trade. We'll have to track it manually. Long on the pound Aussie, long on the micro Russell. And there is a new short trade that did trigger in, so the long stop and reverse long does cancel. Still short. On the micro, or on the crude. I think I would at least move the stop up. If you keep the stop at 78.0 or the 78.01 level area, I'd go ahead and at least move it up to 78.03. Get it up above the 50 a couple of ticks. Still long on the micro NQ, or I'm sorry, short on the micro NQ, long on the micro Russell. Crude back and forth. And micro Russell pushing higher. 78.8 for the trailing stop. Pound Aussie's still long. And the micro Russell's still short. Crude still in its first trade of the 10 o'clock session. And we're now past 10:30. Gives you an idea of how sluggish the market is right now. Micro Russell and the micro YM still both right up at session highs. And micro Russell setting looks like at its session high, trying to set a new one. It's already set a new one on this bar. And there is a new long setup at 78.01. That would be 78.03. So there's your stop and reverse setup at 78.03. That was where I suggested it anyway for the stop after the stop and reverse canceled. So a new stop and reverse long setup. We are still short on crude. Long on pound Aussie and micro Russell. Short on the micro NQ. Not much to watch. Please feel free to ask questions. Soybeans in a successful long trade. We are already on the sidelines in soybeans, having gotten the power of quitting out of our first trade. Getting target one and a break-even stop for the remaining positions. All right, no changes. Micro NQ taking some heat now. Loss break even Two losses, actually two losses and a break even. If this stops out, we will end the session on the third loss. Slow moving paint. Slow drying paint right now. Very sluggish movement in the market. No news on tap today to push it around anymore. right. Not, not much has changed. Other than we did get target one on the crude trade. And that will be a power of quitting. Survived both of the stop and reverse potentials. Looking for a target 2 at this point. And trailing, now where are we? Let's see. Bounce line is 85, so we'd be at 87. Trailing at 87. And so far, looking like trailing and stay at about 86. And there's target 2. So, target 2 winners. Target 1 and 2. Crude oil is done. Crude pushing down solidly now through session lows. So where do we go from here? Good morning, Robert. No, there are not any sessions that I know of focused on soybeans only. But I do go through the soybeans counterpunch chart, which is the chart here on the lower right here, fairly often. You know, it was a one and done this morning. That trade plan actually goes way back, probably 6 or 7 years ago in the live trade room, before we actually switched over to YouTube Live. And that was introduced by somebody on one of the traders in the trade room, and we just continued to watch it through the years. But there has been some work going on soybeans in the cloud control CEO Mastermind Group. Let's see. ZN. This should be ZS is the soybeans. Soybean should be ZS. Now, wait a minute. Are you on TradeStation or NinjaTrader? Okay, yeah. ZS, and then front month at the moment is July. Okay, front month at the moment is July 24. Probably somewhere around June 20th to 22nd is where I would expect the volume to roll over to September. And taking a third loss on the short micro NQ does end the session. That would be the correct, no, 0624, July. 0524 is not a valid contract for soybeans. Or it's about that. Yeah, May is valid, but we are currently in the July contract as the front month. July is already has more volume than May. So it should be 70724. And the pound Aussie stops and reverses to short. Micro Russell still hanging around in that last trade of the day, and a long trade. No, that's right. Micro NQ finished up. Crude finishes up too. So that brings everything except the Micro Russell and the pound Aussie to a close. I'll see if I can't stick around for the. Well, we're almost an hour and a half in. My experience with the soybeans is volume will transition on about the 20th of the month prior to the current contract month. So about April 21st, 20th, 21st, somewhere in there was when volume rolled over to July, which is where we are now. And there is money management on the micro NQ, not participating in that trade. It looks like we're about to. What I use, let me show you what I use for soybeans for all of my charts actually, is I'll set up a chart with volume indicator on a daily chart. So the next contract in line is September. So I have the July, got 86,000 contracts, and we've only got 5,000 on September so far today. Over 2.2 million contracts yesterday. No, 227,000 contracts yesterday. on July versus 16.8 on September. But you can look at that chart without any of the Backpacktrader indicators. That's just a standard volume indicator and set up on 2 panels. The daily charts. Yes, it is. This is Ninja 8.3 or 8.1.3. Excuse me. So we can look at the indicators that I'm showing. And just got the volume indicator on the 2 contracts. So 2 volume indicators. They're each on the daily contract. Series is here. Basically just a standard daily contract, or a standard daily chart showing 1 contract in each panel. And Micro Russell trailer to 79.9 now, and pushing up to new highs. So that's how I set that up, and you can go back and look, and you'll see that I have that set up. There it is for the Micro NQ, June and September, obviously. Micro Russell, same thing set up. Again, June and September. Crude oil, June and July, since we're still in the June contract, till about the 17th or 17th, 18th of May. We'll be watching the volume there. That's just my standard volume comparison, whichever contract I'm working with. There are some additional contracts, but what I've found is based on volume, there's only 5 contracts a year that actually will be the highest volume. There is a June contract that gets pretty much overshadowed by September, or no, an August contract. It gets pretty much overshadowed by September, and the November contract also gets overshadowed by September, and then ends up rolling to January. So normal trading is odd months, January through September, skipping November and going back to January. But that's based on just volume of the front month contracts, front month and the next contract. But what I found was the volume of the other contracts never really exceeds the prior contract until the contract after has already exceeded it. All right, 81.7 for the micro Russell. And the pound Aussie pushing down a little bit. Now short, 82.2. Micro NQ following along as well. Target 2 and trailing now. But we are not in that trade. This is the five tick range bar on counterpunch for soybeans. I did some early work on soybeans and cloud control, and looks promising. I forget what the chart that I liked the best. I think it was something like the 6.2. The one tick offset gets to be really fast. Hard to catch it sometimes. But soybeans, yeah. Well, not so much a falling knife, but it's just hard to catch the trades. If it's because it can be moving rapidly, both up or down. And if it runs through your entry and you don't get the order in, okay, fine, you let it go. Don't chase it. Put your order in where at the entry that you've determined, and if it comes back to it and triggers you in before it gets to money management, great. If not, you go on to the next trade. And if the system, you have to determine how you're going to trade it, and whether you're going to ignore trades that are too fast to deal with to execute, or whether you're going to take them as system trades, even so, whether you can trade them or not. So you're giving a nice short trade. That's a second target, and about getting down near the third. That gold dotted line is the session open from yesterday evening. So we just came off a new session high. It's pulling straight back to the evening session open. 2082.7 for micro Russell. And that is the final trade of the session there, trade number 6. And it's not a matter of you want to try to chase this going up or down. You want to, if it goes up or down rapidly and goes through your entry, you still put the order in may put a limit order in at the entry for it to pull back to it, rather than the stop order if it's already gone through it. Normal entry would be a stop or a stop limit order. I would suggest trying to use stop limit orders as your preference, unless it's a stop and reverse situation. But if the price goes through your entry and you don't get filled, if you've got a stop limit order in, it's already going to switch over to a limit order. But you leave it in place until you either hit the entry or hit money management. It's just like a get in sync. It actually is a get in sync. Traded out of Chicago, so exchange time is central, but since I'm running a mixed set of charts, so I'm running the clock for my time zone, which is Eastern. Session start. This trade plan start time is 8:30 Central, which is market open. That means getting in sync with the trade that has plotted either before your start time or the entry's been hit, but you aren't in it yet. Just put your order in at the entry and wait. Be patient. Don't be pushing to get in just to get in. So like if you have a trade, we had a get in sync this morning set up for us. That trade set up right at our start time, but our get in sync actually was this short back here. Coming into our start time, that was a get in sync, so I was waiting for 9:30 on my chart. When the market opened at 9:30, it actually threw this long trade that went too far. See, there's 9:30. 4 seconds in, you're already up here, and it never comes back to the entry. So you wouldn't have had a chance to get into that trade. The first trade actually was this long trade up here that went target 1 here, hit target 1, then came back and stopped out for a 1-tick break even. Running 4 positions that I run as an example, that would have been target 1. It's 4 positions, target 1, 2, and 3, and trail. So target 1, 3 positions off with the 1 tick. I picked up 10 ticks for the target, 3 more for the trailing stop, 13 ticks on the morning. Not great, but that's what the market gave us this morning. Then we had a potential short here that never actually gave us a full setup. And we had that was before, yeah, that was early. We go back up, get a long. That would have remained a long because we would have adjusted to 46 1/4 for our short entry. So that would have gone back up and we'd have still been in this long. Getting target 1 out of that. Coming back, probably stopping out pretty close to break even stop on that one again. Then we get a short that comes right to the entry. Depending on timing, Let's see, 07, and it's 31 seconds, but you don't know what the timing to get to the entry was. If you get something that spikes to the entry like that, Troy and I both will typically go a tick beyond that spike and push our entry down. In this case, it'd be 48 3/4 rather than 49 flat. Soybeans is a 1/4 point tick market, so we do not use key level adjustments. But 48 3/4 would have kept us in the long trade. Actually, we were flat at that point because we just stopped out, so it would keep us flat. That would have gone. That would have been a stop in reverse here at 53.5. But actually, would get in the long at 53, being flat. That gives us target 1 and 1 tick on the break even. Then we get a short potential and finally sets up here. And that gives us solid target 1 and 2, and we're still in that looking. And it looks like we hit target 3 right on the nose. So trailing on that. And actually, no, we're not, because we never got a chance. See, that trade setup, we were beyond the entry. That's a get in sync. You put your order in at the entry at 52, and we never came back to it. So that trade cancels when we hit target 1. Notice it printed on those first 2 bars, but when this bar hit target 1, it no longer printed on that one. It closes that bar. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Micro Russell up to 83.2 for the stop. More sideways action, it looks like. I prefer my data box on the right side, on the right side of my trading charts, just so it's close. But I use it on the left side here. I've got a screen manager that I'm going to start using. I'll get it so I can get it on the right side here, because I don't like it that far away from where I'm actually looking or actually trading. So I need to get a window manager so I can create an area to keep the charts in, because what happens, see, is I'm going to have to set this always on top. Because what happens when I expand this to a full screen is it covers up everything on the screen except the data box where I said was always on top. But if I did that always on top on the right, it would be on top of the left edge of the chart. That's why I set up the way I do for these demonstrations, and I will get that window manager in place. We went through target 3. All right. Well, it looks like that trailer on the Micro Russell could very well get us positive on the day. We took 2 standard losses, about 1.8 tick risk, times 3 positions. That's about 5.4. We get 2.8 and 3.6. I got 5.4 we get 4.9, no, 6.4 on our targets, plus a big trailer. We're going to be positive on the session with just one winning trade. And one winning trade, 2 losses, and 3 break-evens. Other questions? We're coming up on an hour and 45 minutes. I don't want to keep everybody around just to watch the end of this one trade. Is that helpful, Robert, for soybeans? Now, obviously, you want to test your own start times, but soybeans tends to be a fairly early traded market. I think the market closes at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. 8:30 Central typically is what the start time we have used, but you obviously want to contest other start times. The 8.2 gets to be that because that's 50. Soybeans is $50 a point, so it's $12.50, $12.50 per tick per contract. So you need a fairly well capitalized account to trade it. Now, obviously, you wouldn't start with 4 positions. You'd start with probably 1 position. But I think the second position I put on would probably be the trailer because it will give you some fairly good runners. And it can get behind and recover pretty well as well. $83.7 for the micro Russell. Yeah, that's why Troy recommends looking at charts at markets that have a micro contract. The micro Russell, the micro NQ, crude has a micro, YM has a micro. All those are good possibilities. Crude has been a good market for us, and the micro crude, I think, trades very, very similar to the full crude contract. Excuse me. Let's see. You're looking at. Excuse me. This soybeans trade has a risk of 20 ticks. That is 5 points. That's $250 per contract that you're risking. So if you're keeping to a 2% risk, that's basically 12. You're looking at 12, 13,000, about $13,000 account just to trade 1 position. Micro crude is MCL. It's essentially 1/10 of the standard crude contract. $1 per tick rather than $10 a tick. So soybeans, similar risk profile to crude. It's just you're not looking at as big a trades because you're. Actually, yeah, we're in June right now. MCL 0624 would be the front month till about you're looking at June until approximately the 17th, 18th of the month. But you want to start watching the volume somewhere probably around the 15th. And I certainly do not try to trade all of these charts at the same time. Full crude contract is you're gonna need a 12 to 15 or yeah, $12,000 to $15,000 account to start with there as well, because your typical trade is about 20 to 25 tick risk at $10 a tick. And you're looking at $250, $250 to $300 risk. So you're looking at a, you know, as I say, $12 to $15,000 account to keep your risk profile at about 2%. But with micro, you can now the fees are going to be commissions and fees will end up being a higher percentage of the trade, because unfortunately the one tick break even is not going to cover commission and fees, primarily uh, exchange fees. But a break even is actually going to be slightly negative on the micro crude, whereas a break even on the full crude contract will be slightly positive. But you can also, as your account grows, you have a little bit more flexibility in position sizing, and that you can run multiple positions with the micro long before you can run multiple positions with the full crude contract. You wouldn't get to your full contract on crude until 25 to 30,000. That's where you put on the second contract. Versus micro crude, you put on, be it if you're at 10,000, you're going to be roughly, you can trade, I wouldn't do it, but you can probably trade $1,500 to $2,000 account with a single contract. 2,500 to 3,000 you put on the second contract. But I would say once you get to that 30,000 level, I would definitely go to the full crude, and probably two positions. But up until then, size your positions accordingly. One or two positions sized according to your account size. All right. Well, I am going to have to move on here, it looks like. Good conversation this morning, Robert. Glad to answer questions. And hopefully within the next week or so, actually next week, that's something else I meant to announce earlier. Next week I will be dark in here. No, I'm just running all these on Sim, and actually there's 8 charts. There's another chart, 8 or 9. There's another heating oil charts underneath the micro Russell, and then they have the micro NQ. I'm sorry, unleaded gas RB, and micro ES catapult charts underneath the micro NQ. So I've got like 9 charts here. Typically, I typically run 7 as examples in the room, but I don't try to run them all to trade them. You can trade all of them in one account, but chances are you won't be able to trade all of them at once. But I certainly wouldn't start trading them all at once. I'd start with one chart, and I typically max out at 3, and those 3 have staggered start times, so I typically am not trading any more than 2 at one time. Because you just can't focus on them, tightly enough with more than 2 charts. Because you miss trades. You miss trades, you miss stop moves, you miss hitting money management because you're having to look at different places. No, not I don't trade all those. Those are strictly for example for the trade room. I actually have my 3 trading charts off on another screen. And it really becomes difficult to trade my own charts while running the room as well. 2 of my trade plans, one starts at 9 o'clock, at 8:30 actually is the pound Aussie, and then crude starts at 9. So I'm usually at least finished trading crude. Pound Aussie, it runs a little bit slower, so I can get away with having it next to something else. And then especially on Mondays and Fridays when I'm not running the room, I'll trade the YM at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. But I don't try to trade all 6 or 7 charts that I show in the morning. But pound Aussie starts at 8:30. Crude and unleaded start at 9. Micro NQs and all the rest start at 8:30 because all the rest are traded out of Chicago. All 3 market indices, Micro NQ, Micro Russell, and YM, as well as soybeans, are all traded out of Chicago. So those are all 8:30 Central start, 9:30 Eastern. So those are the primary 7 charts that I run for example here. I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put cloud control, because I am going to try to get cloud control running. I ran into a little problem when I upgraded to 8.1.3. So I'm going to have to get that resolved before I get cloud control running here, because it's just been released for NinjaTrader. And Troy just sent me the initial TA version to work through as well. So we will see how quickly I can get that going. That's probably going to be week after next before you'll be seeing that on anything. I'm thinking I'm probably going to leave the Micro Russell. The Micro NQ is a little slow at times, especially with the 12-point brick, 48 ticks, 48 tick with a 12 tick offset. So I think I'll probably put cloud control in place of the Micro NQ. I hate to do away with crude spotlight chart, because that's been one of the crude chart has been a staple of this trade room ever since I started working with Troy's strategies back in 2015. For at the time I started, he was doing Trend Jumper, then introduced Counterpunch, and since Spotlight and Catapult, and now Cloud Control. So it's been, that's one of the primary markets in Cloud Control is crude, which the crude charts that we've used along the way, when they introduced the micro crude, we found once volume had built up some in the micro crude, that it was close enough that we basically used the same strategy with micro or the full contract. but it's a good place to start. Micro YM, Micro Russell, those are all good places to start. Micro NQ can get a little bit more challenging because it can be a very fast-moving market. It can be very profitable and very costly, and tends to be both. Yeah, basically this top row and the micro YM. The YM is a $5 a tick market. The full Russell is $5 a tick. The micros are 50 cents a tick. So all three of those are just 1/10 the full contract. They all are fairly good starting markets. Pick one and work with it. And as you build up your account, then you can go to other charts, go to the full contract charts, or go to something like soybeans or what have you. Unless you've got a fairly significant account, soybeans is not one to start with. Unless you've got, as I say, unless you've got, I would say at least 15,000 would be starting where I would want to start one single contract on soybeans. Yes, it is. And go through the steps Troy teaches and determining what market you're going to trade based on certainly your account size has a significant to do with that. That's part of the early work is what you're going to trade. Is soybeans or the full crude or full YM, full Russell too expensive for your account size? Then you got to look at something else, and the micros are a good place to look for those. And that's the micros are also a good place to focus to learn the systems, learn how to trade when you're not risking nearly as much. Learn with a little less risk, and then you can move on to things that have more risk but also can be more profitable. They take a little bit more, a little bit larger account to start with. All right. And we're 2 hours in this morning. That's the first time I've done a 2-hour session in probably 6 or 8 months. And okay, so you're in Central Time, Robert, and it's 11:30 here. Yeah, I got to go as well. So we will see everybody tomorrow, 9:30 tomorrow morning for regular Wednesday session, 10:30. And actually, there is Robert, remember there is Troy has an office hour session in about 30 minutes on Zoom for CEO Mastermind traders. So we will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9:30, 10:30 crude oil inventory report session, and do it again. So everybody have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. It's in the announcements on Robert. It's in the announcements on Discord. Now you and I got hooked up on the general chat, look in the announcements, which should show up right above that, and the link or the uh, meeting ID and password will be in the post there. So you obviously have access to the CEO Mastermind portion of Zoom. Certainly can't give that out live here. All right. Everybody have a good one.